Now it's time for 3x3 Experiment by JCD. Comparing stories from ABC, CBS, and NBC. The never-ending 3x3.
Now to the new report from the Pentagon tonight after its investigation into the horrific blast at the Kabul airport during the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. The report now finding the carnage was caused by a single attacker who appeared at the crowded Abbey Gate with a powerful bomb packed with ball bearings. The Pentagon releasing the only known footage of the blast itself. Here tonight, our chief global affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz.
The danger had been building for days. Desperate Afghans trying to get out, U.S. Marines trying to help while securing the Kabul airport. This image is what the bomber would have seen approaching the airport's Abbey Gate on that August afternoon. Masses of people lining a canal. And for the first time, we see the suicide blast itself. It is only a few seconds and some 50 yards away, but slow it down and you see a lone figure dressed in black who investigators now say was the bomber.
In that space between the Marine in the foreground and his antenna is where you're going to see that individual. The blast seems to emanate from this individual.
And 3 minutes after the blast, a U.S. drone records the catastrophic aftermath. 13 U.S. service members, mostly Marines, killed, 170 Afghans by the ball bearings propelled by 20 pounds of explosives on the bomber. Surviving Marines gathering up the wounded and dead, and hundreds of Afghans running for cover. The Pentagon also looked at whether this tragedy could have been avoided. The investigators saying the leaders did follow proper procedures, and in the end, given what was happening on the ground, David, this was not preventable. David?
Martha Raddatz tonight. Thank you, Martha.
Good news on the COVID front. The Omicron spread is slowing and new cases are falling in 49 of 50 states. The only state that's actually still seeing an increase is Alabama, but in the rest of the country, cases are down nearly 30%. But with that positive development comes some sad news. The death toll in the U.S. just passed 900,000 fatalities, and unfortunately, the number of people dying every day is increasing.
Now to the pandemic and a grim new milestone tonight. This evening, more than 900,000 lives have been lost to the virus in this country, almost 2 years to the day that the first death was reported. But there are new signs tonight that we could be turning the corner, and the new study here on masks, N95s, surgical masks, and the ones made of cloth, and how much protection each provides. Here's Whit Johnson.
Tonight, the country passing another unthinkable milestone, 900,000 lives lost to the virus, nearly 2 years after the first known COVID death in the U.S.
It's all on all of us to essentially do what we can, get tested, vaccinated, reduce transmission in the community to really, prevent getting to those further milestones.
So much loss, taking its toll on the front lines.
I just pray I don't have to zip up another body bag. I don't have to call someone and let them know that their loved one's not coming home.
Tiffany Porter's 3-year-old got severely ill. She's grateful she made it home from the hospital.
This virus doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care your age. It doesn't care anything about you.
But new COVID cases are now falling in 47 states. Hospitalizations down 33% in the last 2 weeks. Governors weighing when to roll back restrictions, pressing the White House for a clear roadmap.
What does the road from pandemic to endemic look like, and how do we keep score?
And tonight, a new study out of California showing higher quality masks give better protection. Researchers found an N95 mask lowered the odds of getting COVID by 83% compared to no mask. Surgical masks lowered by 66%, and cloth masks by 56%. And David, late today, the CDC director giving the green light on full approval for the Moderna vaccine for everyone 18 and up. It now joins Pfizer. So far, nearly 75 million Americans have been fully vaccinated with the Moderna vaccine. David.
All right, Whit Johnson tonight. Thank you, Whit.
A California Highway Patrol helicopter swooped down and rescued a couple and their dog who were stranded in a Sierra Nevada cabin and running out of supplies. They finally called the sheriff after being at the cabin for about 2 months, trapped by deep snow and fallen trees.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us as we near the end of another week together. And we begin tonight with the dangerous commute at this hour, all part of this massive winter storm. Wind chills right behind it for several states below zero. The storm hitting much of the Northeast and New England today after already hitting the South. The ice now stretching some 2,000 miles from Texas all the way up to Maine. Treacherous highways and roads. More than 3,800 flights canceled. More than 100,000 customers without power tonight. And as we head into the night, temperatures plunging, keeping that snow and ice on roadways. A tractor trailer colliding with a vehicle on 495 outside Boston. One person was killed. Upstate New York getting the full force of the snow. Rochester with more than 11 inches in the past 24 hours. In the South tonight, freezing rain coating trees and power lines. These images from Murray, Kentucky tonight. Crews rushing to get the lights back on. And look at this tonight, northwest of San Antonio, Texas. Hundreds of drivers stuck for hours in a traffic jam after an 18-wheeler jackknifed on Interstate 10. Some drivers were stuck for 16 hours on I-10 in below freezing temperatures. Rob Marciano is standing by with the brutal cold sweeping in right behind this across several states. And ABC's Ariel Reshef with the images of this storm and the commute tonight, leading us off from New York.
Tonight, that powerful system pushing into the Northeast, temperatures tumbling.
We have seen that changeover from rain to freezing rain and then sleet, and yes, now some snow mixing in.
Outside Boston, a tractor trailer colliding with a vehicle. One person killed. North of New York City, a state of emergency. Ice covering trees and roads, thousands losing power. In the South, freezing temperatures keeping roads encased in ice and snow. Northwest of San Antonio.
So many trucks and cars are right now trapped on I-10.
The line of vehicles stretching for miles through the night.
It was pretty cold last night, dropped down to about 18.
Celeste Gaitan talking to us during her 13th hour stuck in that standstill.
I'm only a mile away from my exit, and we haven't inched one bit.
Early this afternoon, finally on the move again after being stuck for 16 hours. In the Memphis area, more than 100,000 customers still without power there. And David, that system is finally moving out, but temperatures here in New York City are falling fast. Freezing rain is now blanketing many of the roadways, making for a dangerous, treacherous commute here and across the Northeast. David?
Yeah, from the north all the way to the south, the temperatures are the concern. Ariel, thank you. Let's get to senior meteorologist Rob Marciano tracking it all, including what's right behind all this. Hey, Rob.
Hi, David. Just north of New York City here, and temperatures are below freezing. The roads, the sidewalks, they're icing up, and the Tappan Zee Bridge behind me, no doubt, is getting slick. The precip is now on top of that cold air that's infiltrating the Northeast. Here it is on the radar scope, so that's the problem, and it's pretty wide. So we've got several hours of icing here, anywhere really north of New York City, which is going to be problematic. A flash freeze tonight as temperatures plummet, so anything that's on the roads will freeze up. And then look at these numbers in the morning. Brutal cold, -4 in the snows and ice zone in Albany, -12 in Indianapolis. The snow and the ice only adding to the cold in St. Louis. -10 for a wind chill to start the Saturday. David?
We can hear the wind on your mic tonight. Rob, we'll be watching you this weekend. Thank you.
First, the major winter storm that has battered most of the country this week is now bearing down on the East Coast. Nearly 300,000 homes and businesses remain without power tonight as heavy snow knocked down tree limbs and power lines from Texas to Ohio. Parts of Pennsylvania, New York, and New England got more than a foot of snow, while icy roads remain the biggest problem for thousands of travelers. And temperatures are dropping fast for nearly a third of the country. More than 100 million Americans will see temperatures in the teens or below by Saturday morning. Well, CBS's Nancy Chen starts us off tonight from Morristown, New Jersey. Good evening, Nancy.
Nora, good evening to you. The concern as this rain comes down is that it'll ice over, creating slick and dangerous roads. The same system has already brought deadly conditions across half the country, with millions more still in its path.
Traffic grinding to a halt on Interstate 10 after slick and icy roads caused 2 tractor trailers to jackknife near Kerrville, Texas, killing 1 person. Drivers were left stranded in frigid temperatures, including Danielle DeGrandis and her friends. They rode out the cold in a U-Haul, but they're slowly moving again.
We haven't eaten in 24 hours. We haven't had water in just about that same amount of time, and our families are freaking out.
To the north, freezing rain and sleet turned into ice. CBS correspondent Omar Villafranca.
Here in North Texas, the main roads and highways have been treated. But it's side streets like this with the slush and the ice that are still tricky to navigate. And all of this is going to refreeze tonight when the temperatures dip back into the teens.
The massive winter storm stretches from Texas to Maine. The weather is blamed for one death in Tennessee and another in Oklahoma. The National Weather Service confirmed 2 tornadoes struck Alabama Thursday, including an EF2 that killed 1 woman and seriously injured 3 others. A buildup of ice brought down tree limbs and electrical lines. Nearly 300,000 homes and businesses are without power tonight.
We're having to charge our mobile phones in the cars, so we're having to go and warm up in our vehicles.
As the storm moves through the Northeast, Massachusetts State Police say they've already responded to more than 200 crashes. In New Hampshire, a box truck ran off a snow-covered road on I-93. And in New Jersey, salt trucks were out in full force, trying to prevent black ice.
We got our snow reps driving up and down the road, making sure everything is clear.
The storm is also wreaking havoc on air travel. Nearly 4,000 flights have been canceled in the U.S. today, on top of the 5,000 yesterday. Nora?
Nancy Chen, thank you.
And a royal milestone for Queen Elizabeth. She will mark 70 years on the throne this weekend. Buckingham Palace releasing new images showing her looking over memorabilia at Windsor Castle. One of her beloved dogs sneaking into the room there. She marks 70 years on the throne on Sunday.
Tonight, the CDC is investigating Dole salad mixes after 2 deaths from listeria were linked to its packaged salads. The company issued recalls of several of its products in late December and early January. At least 17 people have gotten sick and 13 people were hospitalized in more than a dozen states. The CDC says if you've had these Dole salads in your fridge at the start of this year, you really need to clean it out now.
Tonight, disgraced attorney Michael Avenatti has been found guilty of stealing from former client Stormy Daniels. The jury here in New York convicting him of wire fraud and identity theft. Daniels, who hired him in her lawsuit against former President Trump, accusing him of stealing $300,000 from her. To the index of other news tonight, rescuers are working to save a 5-year-old boy trapped in a well, in northern Morocco. The boy stuck 100 feet down for 3 days now. Crews using heavy equipment to tunnel through to try to reach to the side of the well down below. Getting close, but there are concerns tonight the well could collapse. Hundreds are now gathering, praying for that boy. Finally tonight here, the elementary school teacher quietly working on her own after-school project. Our person of the week. Tonight in Durham, North Carolina, elementary school teacher Mrs. Turquoise Lejeune Parker has been staying after school, and for good reason. For years now, Mrs. Parker has been helping to quietly feed students over winter break when they don't get their lunches that they can count on at school. About half the children in her school district qualify for free or reduced lunches. Mrs. Parker raising money through social media, fundraisers, charity foundations, packing bags full of groceries to send home. Writing on the bags, "Love Mrs. Parker," and a whole lot of people. First for her own students, then her school's 387 students at Lakewood Elementary School. And just this past break, her biggest number yet. More than $106,000 in donations, her Costco receipt growing every year. And so is the help.
All of these volunteers who are here packing everything up.
Volunteers packing.
We got corn, tons of green beans.
Loading up the groceries.
We have this truck over here, and then we have this truck over here.
And right here tonight,
Hi, David.
Mrs. Parker.
So let's go through the bag and see what we got here. So we've got cereal, because who doesn't like cereal? We have some Chef Boyardee, some Easy Mac, peanut butter, applesauce.
She keeps going.
Baked beans, popcorn, oatmeal, instant potatoes, chili. Every child got this full bag. Each bag weighs 12 pounds and 7 ounces.
5,200 bags of groceries, 12 school districts now. Mrs. Parker now preparing for spring break.
David, as you can see, I'm right here with some of the book bags that we're going to be using when we send home food.
This time, book bags the children can keep.
Hi, Mr. David.
Gianna Jackson in the 5th grade volunteering.
Ms. Parker really inspires me, and I really hope that people across America really take this to heart and start packing food to help our community get better.
And tonight, Mrs. Parker and her hope.
We are expanding this as much as we can to take care of each other because we are in this together.
Build back better, blah, blah, blah. Green economy, blah, blah, blah. Net zero by 2050, blah, blah, blah. Net zero, blah, blah, blah. Climate neutral, blah, blah, blah.